Last time on Knights of the Round Table, the team initiated combat with Lord Malkedoth, who quickly fled further into his inner sanctum. Undead guards battled the team and killed their ally Torque, who was unable to be revived due to their necrotic damage. The team pursued Malkedoth into the first of several trapped rooms, but Riggs possessed insider information that allowed them to bypass the deadly traps and moved into a second room, where Randall sort of decided to dip a vial into a creepy moat and got dragged in by a zombie.
So we have rolled initiative. We are looking at Branch in bear form has just luckily grabbed on to Gravely's backpack with his teeth and stood up, which pulled Gravely out of this murky, gross black water that he's sensing necrotic energy in. He is still holding on to the feet.
It's terrible. Brunch, help me.
He is successfully holding on to the feet of Randall and holding on to the arms of Randall, who still has the vial in his hand, is a zombie. We have rolled initiative, and Werewolf Sarsa goes first. What do you want to do? This initiative order is not necessarily inherently combat. It's just kind of like bullet time. Let's slow this down and see what everybody does. So, Sarsa, you're up.
Or I'm going to attempt to... How far away am I from the zombie?
Not far, between like 5 and 10 feet. Definitely accessible. This is a very long chamber, but there's a very narrow strip of ground that you're on before you have to be on this like long, skinny path.
Dope. I'm going to try to bite the hand to make it release him.
Roll a bite attack.
It's a 19 to hit.
That's going to do it. I mean, that'll pretty much, I think, do what you want it to do. I don't know. I'm going to roll a constitution save for the zombie on the notion of, like, I don't know if a zombie has that reflex of, like, ouch, pull your hand back because it's undead. So let's just see if it can hang on or not. It rolled a 20. So you bite the zombie's hand and just like go right through it. It's like wet and sludgy, and it doesn't let go. Like it doesn't like react physically to that really much. But I think the hand is, because you also had a high roll. I don't think that hand is very functional. So it's still holding on with both hands. I think that hand is not holding on well because you basically just got a full mouthful of spongy, gross zombie flesh, but it's still holding on firmly with the other hand. It doesn't seem like phased by the werewolf that just rushed at it. Anything else you want to do on your turn?
I have multi-attack, but
there you go.
Do you want the damage from that or no?
Yeah.
I was 11.
Okay.
So then my second attack is going to be to claw. I'm going to claw at the zombie.
Sure.
And that's going to be a 9 to hit.
Going off the like straight up monster manual zombie, a 9 actually hits.
Oh, wow. Okay. And that's going to also be 11 damage.
All right. So you claw at kind of the like torso, head, middle part area of this zombie, and it basically like collapses. It drops. You like basically like claw right through it and take it apart. And every part of the zombie that is like below your claw swipe just like drops down into the water, and the two hands, one intact and one very much not intact, are still holding on to Randall, who is currently free.
Okay, I'm gonna like with my movement. Now that the zombie is, I'm assuming, falling back into the water.
Yeah, it's basically it drops right into the water and is not currently visible.
Then I'm gonna basically like take my body and like wedge myself in between Randall and the water, and like basically almost like try to use my body to like scooch him away from the water.
That's so nice.
I think they probably, the whole collection, the whole like goofy chain of people holding on, like probably let you do that. They might fall over backwards a little bit, but like generally, like they're all interested in backing away from the water at this point. So you're able to maneuver that. And I mean, I think that pretty much takes us out of initiative for the moment.
Sorry, guys.
One roll.
His hands are still on Randall.
So the hands are still attached to Randall. Randall, you can kind of feel it's still moving. It's not like the hand is not necessarily.
I was like, get it off me!
inactive?
Get it off me! It's got me! It still got me! And he looks down and goes, "Ow!" And he's gonna kick it off, kick the hands off using his feet.
I think that works. You're able to like wiggle him off of there, and we'll just say knock him into the water, both hands, and that'll take us back to like here you are in this room. It seems pretty dangerous.
And so I'm
going to use my telepathy feat to talk to everyone since I'm still a bear and say, we should be careful not to touch the water. It seems like there are dead things in it.
Oh, I might actually have something for that. Unless, Sarsa, I know you can do... Can you do that as a werewolf?
Sarsa's just like she's just like blah, blah, blah,
Right.
trying to get the zombie taste out of her mouth.
Right.
But she's like now standing, so she's bipedal, but she's still like in her wolf form, just like blah, 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 blah.
All right. Well, in that case, maybe I better take this one. I've been wanting to try this. I'm very excited. And Gravely's going to take out from underneath his chainmail his little wooden carved pendant on the end of a leather strap around his neck, and it's kind of hand carved, very rudimentary, of this little basket of vegetables that's been painted. And he holds it, and you can see kind of there's a little glow from his hand, and he is going to cast Turn Undead. Ooh, because I'm an Arcana cleric now.
Read to us about Turn Undead at Gravely's level.
Okay, each undead that can see or hear you within 30 feet must make a Wisdom saving throw. If the creature fails its saving throw, it is turned for 1 minute. It tries to stay as far away from me as it can.
Within 30 feet.
Yeah.
That can see and hear you. Okay.
Is that any that can currently see or hear you, or is that anytime during the minute?
Within a minute. So if I start walking forward and if they go, ha, and I go, hi, and it's going to go, ah, and it tries to go. It's kind of like makes them afraid. It's sort of like they are frightened if they fail their wisdom save.
Yeah, and they try to stay away from you. Yeah, so you can't see into this water, and having seen one zombie come out of it, and like he was only in there for like a second.
Yeah.
Like the zombie that grabbed him was like sitting right there, which is a little bit unsettling. So you cast Turn Undead and, say your prayer or whatever, and the water on both sides, if it even is water, moves within 30 feet of you, like moves substantially.
Oh, gross.
Like you can kind of like see from the movement and the sudden ripples, you can see the like zombies being affected and rippling away from you immediately. You can kind of see specifically where certain zombies
a bunch
were.
Of crocodiles moving under the water.
Yeah, you can just see the water moving. You can't see any of the zombies.
Yeah.
So you're not really sure how many were affected. You can see exactly where 30 feet away from you is, because you can see kind of where the ripples move.
And there's a walkway down the middle.
Yeah, there's a walkway down the middle. So that's a pretty unsettling thing to watch for all of you.
Let's go forward and follow close to me. Right now. Go.
Just a second. I've got to get this out of my mouth, and just give me 1 moment. And Sarsa's going to try to calm down as best as she can, but she's just still actively like trying to spit out.
So do a wisdom. I think it's just a wisdom
save, or
we'll say it's a wisdom save at disadvantage, because this is not a location for calm mindfulness like Riggs' apartment was earlier.
That's a 25 and then an 11.
There it is. It does not work. You kind of like,
I can still smell it. It's still right in me tongue. Like, I can't.
You kind of like,
where's my whiskey? And she grabs out her tankard and it's just like, but like she can't really gulp it too well because her mouth is all like wolfy. So it's like, I'm spilling whiskey. That's not like me.
Gravely says, Branch, can you let Sarsa ride on your back? We gotta move. I don't think this is gonna last that long.
Yes. Sarsa, get on.
She very begrudgingly gets on, but yeah.
Right, Randall, Tiburon, cross.
What specifically happened in your kind of like meditation is like you were in the zone for a moment and you almost felt the change move, and then you could swear you felt a little bit of the zombie still in your mouth move on its own, and like it was over after that. You were like, no, done, and then
it's like eating calamari.
Yeah.
Oh no.
So Bear Ranch sort of like hoists Werewolf Sarsa onto your back. Let's kind of just keep something else that like I had earlier is along with Riggs' notes of the notes that like led you through the previous trap. You had the numbers 3, 10, 4, and 6, but like none of you quite knows what that means. This is like there's like cobblestones on the path, which I think you notice is about 10 across. But like Gravely, as soon as you walk out, lead the way onto the little walkway, there is a massive gust of wind, and make a dexterity saving throw.
Oh, jeez.
Is that everybody or just Gravely?
Just me?
Assuming kind of like Gravely was the first one to kind of step out there, I'm going to say right now it's just Gravely.
That is a 25.
Ooh, that will do it. So basically like a big hole opens up on one side of the wall, actually on both sides of the wall, far out on the other side of the two kind of moats. Big holes open up and a huge like burst of wind comes and definitely pushes on you. Definitely the intention of this wind is to knock you into the water. But Gravely, you're able to basically like drop onto all fours and steady yourself, and it doesn't knock you in. You can kind of feel yourself sliding a little bit, but it's not effective.
Low center of gravity. Do I sense it's because of something I stepped on? Like, is there any like a
Yeah
thing on the plate, like a thing on the floor that went or like fell down a little bit or something? Or
yes, yeah. There's definitely kind of pressure plates all over this.
I look down. I want to check to see what's going on with the ground. Like, what did I step on?
Make an intelligence roll.
Just a straight intelligence.
Investigation.
Okay. 16.
So you're looking around to try to identify like where pressure plates are or where pressure plates aren't, or how this works. And like with the wind going and you're kind of like caught on the ground, your cape of billowing is a little bit flapping all over the place and dragging you a little bit. Like it's not, you have no idea. But the wind is not turning off.
Cape
like
looks real cool though. It's like
it's
like
billowing on its own.
Straight up Batman. Like it's
I think it takes an action to make that work, but you might be able to get it to counter billow against the wind.
You said there were 10 across?
I mean, there's a lot, but there's like, the like width of this pathway is kind of 10 smallish cobblestones. The whole pathway is maybe only like 5 feet wide. There's not quite enough room to go. You have to go kind of single file. It's that narrow. Let's just kind of jump back into initiative with from where Gravely is. So Gravely ends up prone, hanging on to this, but not knocked into the water. And then Branch is next. Branch, who has Sarsa on his back, is next.
All right.
That might help
Branch,
keep him weighed down.
Remembering Riggs's note, I will sort of look and try to figure out where the third cobblestone is and put my bear paw on that.
Roll your own investigation check.
Yes, sir.
With advantage.
With advantage. Ooh, 15.
Okay, so you don't necessarily know what 3 means in context, because like the whole thing is just like one long line of cobblestones that's 10 across, but you start counting from the left side 1, 2, 3 and kind of pick one of those, maybe like just like 3 in. And you kind of gingerly step there, and it doesn't actually turn the wind off, but you can kind of sense that like that seems solid. Like that specific stone that you're standing on seems like it wouldn't trigger the wind, but because it's already triggered, it doesn't seem like it's the off switch.
This one seems good.
All right, so we have to be careful about where we step. How did you figure that out? Was there a sequence?
From Riggs, he gave us. We got that note, and it said 3, 10, 4, 6.
3, 10, 4, 6. All right, so if that was 3, then 10. Oh, 10 would be on the end here, and I'll jump on 10.
You're able to kind of like scoot over there, kind of like wiggle angle. A 10th is like real unnerving to like wiggle over to because it's right on the edge and there's not a like railing. You're able to get to it and have that same sort of feeling of you can feel pressure plates in all the other ones, but 10 is solid, but also like being on the ground, not really wanting to stand up with the wind blowing. Like you can feel 10 with like one hand and maybe 1 foot, but
yeah, I'm twisting my way over. I'm doing like right foot 10, left foot wherever I was, and I'm just like, all right, I'm gonna try to make my way here. Everyone, be careful.
Or next.
Like, so what I'm saying is you get to 10 and you can feel like, yeah, that seems right that 3 and 10 here are safe, but you can't get like all the way on 10 because you're still like bracing yourself against the wind that's still blowing.
Right, so
if you would, it would be like a real precarious balance situation.
Okay, so I'm going to try to stand up and step back then.
Okay. Do dexterity save with advantage.
24.
Good enough. So you can do what you want. So are you going to get up there and like back off of the...
If I can, I will try to get to where I'm standing up on the 10.
Yeah. I feel like that would be super scary, but with good dexterity roll, you're able to like stand up and get both feet on the 10 only, and Branch has one bare foot on the 3. And when you do that, the wind shuts off.
All right.
But you're also like right on the edge, walking a tightrope with the water. Everybody's staring at you like, ooh. As you move forward, there's a little bit of like the edge of the ripples like moved forward slightly because you're undead radius.
Yeah. Is there a ceiling? How tall is the ceiling in here?
It's pretty dark in here, so you can look up and without like you can't really see without a specific light source at the moment.
I will cast light.
You cast light on an object, right? And it also has a radius that it casts in. What's light do? What do you want to cast it on and where?
I'll cast it on my bow that I'm holding.
Okay.
20-foot radius and a dim light for an additional 20 feet.
So basically you get 40 feet of visibility and you can't see a ceiling in that range.
All right. We better try to keep moving. What's the next number?
Riggs is actually there, so he's like, 4 and 6.
Can anybody make it on the 4th one on the 3rd row?
In your kind of scurrying over, you're pretty sure you hit 6 and it was a pressure plate.
Can anyone make it to 4?
I could try. I'm a good jumper, and I've got some height since I'm on top of Branch.
I'll try to like scoot all the way onto the cobble that I'm on as much as I can without stepping onto the other ones to give her reach to 4.
All right, so you scoot out onto 3. And you set her down onto 4, which, like, these are not wide. They're maybe, like, 6 inches. So it's not like a big space. But, like, Werewolf Sarsa drops down onto what would be 4. And the wind turns back on. Everybody, Branch, Sarsa, and Gravely make another dexterity save.
22.
18.
22.
Man, I'm getting some solid rolls tonight, y'all.
Yeah, way to go. So same thing kind of happens. The wind walls open up again and they blow all of you, but you're able to, especially because you kind of like have the expectation, you're able to kind of like get down, brace against each other. You know kind of what direction the wind's coming from, and you're able to not lose too much footing. But the wind is now on again, blowing pretty hard.
Well, that didn't work.
Well, Randall, what do you want to try?
What if we just ran really fast?
I mean, there is that. Tiburon, any ideas?
This really seems like a one at a time sort of situation, wouldn't you say?
I think so, but... So, hold on. I'm having trouble picturing... Are we on a... I thought we were on a very long vertical... Or not vertical. A long, straightforward path. And
Yes.
10 cobblestones across.
Yes.
And we're on the first row of cobblestones?
10 cobblestones left to right. Many, many cobblestones long.
And we're
But
just...
you're looking at like the rows that go all the way down this like long length. So based on what like has happened, including like what's gone wrong and losing a little footing amidst the wind and everything, what you're able to determine right now is that it's row 3 and row 10. Like the whole, like as far as you've gone down, it's the whole row 3 and the whole 10. When you were on 3 and 10, it turned off. When Sarsa stepped on 4. That's what reactivated it.
Someone should try stepping on 6.
Tiburon, can you try stepping on the 6th row?
You can kind of point like this one's point here.
That one.
It's not a big.
All right, here we go. And Tiburon
Brace yourselves.
to where Gravely points.
So given the like wind blowing, Tiburon probably just kind of like sticks a foot out and pushes down on the 6th row, and that also seems like a pressure plate. So it seems like it's 3 and 10 that are the safe rows currently where you are. 4 and 6 both seem to be pressure plates.
I look at Riggs and I'm like, your intel is off.
So Riggs actually says like, wait, look. And he kind of like points to a space down the line. Tiburon, do that again.
Aye, all right.
Tiburon kind of steps up and down on row 6. And where Riggs is pointing is that you can see that it's like a long length of pressure plate, but he's kind of pointing to like it ends. 10 to 15 cobblestones down the line. It looks like that's where this pressure plate ends.
So we got to bounce from 3 to 10 to 4 to 6 as we go down. We'll walk until it feels different, and then everybody switches to that track.
Yeah, you can kind of see the line where there might be a new set of pressure plates.
Yeah, so we'll walk along 3.
Wouldn't it be nice if just once in a while one of these things was just really simple, just super straightforward. These are the numbers. You step on these, you're good to go. None of this dilly-dallying about. I mean, who's got this kind of time? Who thinks up this kind of crap?
Well, we definitely don't, because these zombies are going to start attacking. So let's go. 3. Until
Riggs is like, I did kind of have a cheat code to that room back there. So, we've made some progress.
All right, Riggs, tell us where to stop.
So you end up with some like kind of like pointing and pushing and shuffling and delicateness. You guys are all able to kind of walk down row 3 and 10 to the line that these pressure plates seem to stop. And then you need to know what to do, what you're going to try next.
I'll look real hard, concentrating on the 4th row and see if it looks like it's changed, if there's pressure plates on the 4th row.
Do another investigation check with advantage because you kind of like have the clue.
Okay. 22.
So because you have the numbers 4 and 6 and you know kind of the structure and where to look, like you can look and you can kind of see that like, yeah, you're pretty sure that 4 and 6 for this next section, those are the safe ones.
All right.
You're pretty confident from where you are. You can step on 4 and 6 and make your way down a little bit more.
I do that. All right, 4th row, everybody, go.
Whee!
When he steps on 4, does anything happen?
No, in a good way. And you're kind of like confident enough that like 4 and 6 are close enough together that you can kind of like put one foot on either one and all of you can kind of shuffle forward on this next section. But you get to the end of that section and you are roughly halfway down this bridge and you don't have any more information. You're pretty sure like there's more of these, but you don't have any more information on the numbers. And actually at that point, John Fletcher appears. Remember, John Fletcher appeared in the previous room on a little pedestal projection kind of thing, and so he's there again down the line, which you can see a little bit better now because this room is dark, but you can see another kind of similar kind of pedestal kind of projection device, and the image of John Fletcher reappears there and says basically like, you could just go back. If you don't, you could just turn around and leave and it would be easy to just forget all of this. You could walk back. You could leave town, nobody's devoured by zombies, and you could go on and live your life.
Be quiet, John Fletcher. Hologram, nobody asked you. No, he wouldn't know what a hologram is. Be quiet, John Fletcher. Image projection, nobody knows. Nobody wants to listen to advice from you. I'll look real hard and see if I can see where the next set of pressure plates are.
Do an investigation with disadvantage now.
I would like to try to sniff. See if I can tell where people have stepped in the past.
With sniffing?
Through smell? All right, roll a smell check. Right. Perception, I guess.
I get advantage on those.
You could do looking for footprints.
I rolled a 12.
So you're not really able to detect any particular pattern or solidity. Matt, what's your smell check?
15.
So smell gives you no particular information about pressure plates or footprints, but you can actually you can smell the zombies and the rottedness, and you can actually kind of smell when the turn undead wears off.
Uh-oh.
You can actually get a little bit of kind of like the scent of fear dissipating and the rippling of that water that was occurring with zombies trying to get away from Gravely stops.
Gravely, I think your amulet stopped working.
I'm sorry, it only lasts a minute. Sarsa, could you do the same thing?
I'll try. My concentration's a little off, but I'll do my best. Yeah, I'll attempt, and if it does work, I'll attempt to turn undead, and I do also have destroy undead because of my level.
Because you're a high level cleric, so basically, if they fail, they just like die, right? But they still
because it's basically if they're a challenge rating of 1/2 or lower. Then yeah, they're instantly destroyed. They make a wisdom saving throw.
Okay, based on the same kind of thing, because you're in wolf form, I would give them advantage in their rolls. That's kind of where you're getting with the wolf form, is like you're not quite as like focused and spiritual in that. So you do that, and similarly to when Gravely cast it. But you can see exactly where some zombies are being affected. But rather than ripples that are moving away from you, there's a like...
The bodies hit the top! Let the bodies hit the top!
It's weird because you kind of see like an upwelling of water and then like a dropping of water.
Like
where
a depth charge.
Exactly. And then some like zombie parts sort of like float to the top. So you've definitely like affected significantly the zombie population, but like you can't really be totally confident that they're all gone. The already gross water just got significantly gross.
It just turns brown.
Everyone keep moving.
Riggs, where did you get these numbers from?
An informant, but this is all the information they had. Sorry. We might just have to go for it and see what happens. John Fletcher's image is still there. And he actually heard Riggs say, like, my informant, which might be, like, why Riggs was, like, not real forthcoming about, like, any more information. But John Fletcher is like, so there's a spy then. Makes sense. But it appears your luck is run out with that. You have no more information. There's no clues here. There's no code in the wall. It's all you from here. And let me remind you, we don't have to do this. You could just leave.
Right.
I could reward you even.
And all you guys, I have an idea. And then he changes out of bear form.
Zoop.
And then I am going to cast Wind Walk and just take everybody with me. Because I can
What?
creatures.
What's Wind Walk?
You and up to 10 willing creatures you can see within range, which is 30 feet, assume a gaseous form for the duration, which is 8 hours, appearing as wisps of cloud.
What?
While in this cloud form, a creature has a flying speed of 300 feet and has resistance to damage from non-magical weapons.
Did you just turn us all into a fart?
Yep. The only actions a creature can take in this form are the dash action or to revert to its normal form.
But wait. Are we stuck as clouds for 8 hours?
Reverting takes 1 minute.
Reverting takes 1 minute.
Let's go.
All right, let's turn into gas. This is great.
I just remembered that I had that spell.
Do you like tell them that's going to happen, or do you just cast it? Do they have to be willing?
No, just do it.
It does say willing, so I'll say okay. I have a new spell, and Branch will turn us all into gas, and then we will just fly very fast.
Gas?
Yes, like
what kind of gas? Like a poisonous gas? Like a noxious odor or something?
It is just gas, like air or steam or nitrogen.
I'm sorry, Branch knows what nitrogen is.
Yes.
Can we at least be a noble gas? You know, I mean that way we're.
You know what? I've never been a gas before, and I'm already taken all kinds of different shapes now. What's one more among friends? Let's go. I'm in. Sarsa consents actively.
Randall trusts you.
So everybody's gas?
Everyone is gas.
And
all
you can move yourself?
5 of us and Riggs. There's no other creatures with us?
Yeah.
Okay, so
There's
the
6
of us.
6 in total.
Our flying speed is 300 feet.
Dang.
Which is
Dang,
just
this like
insane.
completely negates like travel time.
It's a 6th
Yeah, but-
level spell.
But
so-
we're also gas.
Do we keep our clothes? Like
Everything's gas. Let's do this. Like, everybody describe your
your
gas.
aroma?
Like, what's the color? Yeah, color, scent, whatever you want to describe. What is your gas?
Branch's gas is like kind of the same green that he is, and smells a bit like a bog.
All right.
So that peaty smell.
Randall.
No?
Okay,
Randall, give me your gas.
Randall, you know the Pokemon coughing that like emits that like black gas that's like
Yeah.
toxic. That's what it is, and little poison symbols come up as it goes, and it smells like putrid. The smell that you smell when you're like, I need to take out the garbage. That's the smell.
Tiburon, tell us about your gas.
It is a gray blue, and it's like seawater fog that only the brightest of lighthouses can cut through.
Yeah.
Very nice. Gravely.
Gravely's is kind of a light, shimmery green with a bit of purple kind of mixed in, just little shimmery, opalescent sort of thing, and it's very small. It's kind of tinier than some of the rest of them. And I'm going to move forward.
Sarsa.
It's like a black, like almost opaque black cloud. The aroma is like, I don't know if you guys ever have had this experience like in college, but like after throwing a bender, the smell of the recycling bin like the next day, like after you've like taken all the bottles out, like it's just a mishmash of like beer and out. It's the recycling bin of like all of the choices that got made the night before. And it's not exactly like a bad smell, but it's definitely like not just one smell. Like it is.
Yeah.
Oh, and my gas smells like asparagus.
Wait, actual asparagus or like asparagus after the fact asparagus?
That.
Oh, how is that the
But
worst?
no one knows what any of the smells are because none of us have noses.
Exactly. So you all gas, including Riggs, and you are able to drift down to
Wait,
where...
what's Riggs's gas like? Zach, we need to know.
Riggs's gas is a deep purple color, pretty dense. This is deep character exploration for an NPC. I think it smells like an attic with old things in it. Not food, but just like the dust and
Like
the
old mothballs
detritus
and vinegar.
Yeah. So all of your collective gaseous forms are able to bypass the rest of the pressure plates, saving all my cool traps. You're up to like basically where the image of John Fletcher is, who like watches you do this and is like, "Oh, for the sake of the gods, all right, fine."
I feel like John is like the pseudo DM in this. Like, I feel like he might be a little bit of an outlet for some personal feelings here, Zach.
He's like, no, stop, don't.
Yeah, I'm gonna fly my gas over to his little projection to like cloud it up and just to get in his
You're
face.
able to
and
do
then
that.
go, Good.
You've got 8 hours.
He just like
You're
shakes
good.
his head like,
Yeah, the gas.
So you're
laughed.
able to get to like an equivalent sized platform area to the like entrance, and there's a door, like a stone door that's closed, and there's a lever next to the door that like, I mean, it's just a lever. It could be the like open switch. It could be, who knows, it could be trapped or whatever, but like in your gaseous form.
Gravely will float
Yeah,
over
wow.
to this lever and try to like push on it, but he just goes through
Yeah.
the lever. It kind of goes back and forth a couple times. Just you see the gaseous cloud like rumble a little bit, just kind of like, "Rrr," but no sound or anything. And I just concentrate real hard, like I want to be solid.
Well, hold on. Now you said the door is closed, but is it airtight?
Yeah, can I swim underneath it? Or swim? Can I gas underneath it? Or through the crack, wherever the hinge is?
Can I vape? Can I vape underneath the crack?
I mean, it's stone. Stone is typically porous.
You can't move through stone as a gas. I'm not going to
is
give
it
you
pumice?
that.
Come on.
I could. If it's
Moving
pumice.
through the seams, I want to come up with a role for that. Like, give me suggestions for like what skill would be. Can I move through as
Constitution. Can you constitute yourself as a gas long enough to?
I do think it's constitution related.
Gravely is concentrating on being solid again for a minute.
Yeah, so Gravely drops
The only
down.
actions we can take are to dash and to revert. If you consider going under the door not one of those things, then yeah, we should revert.
I mean, I think the point of gas is you could potentially roll through things like that. So I think while Branch kind of like attempts to kind of like push his gassy self through, like you don't have a lot of success with that. Like maybe kind of like you're forcing through a very small percentage of yourself at a time, but you're not like easily passing through. It's fairly airtight, but kind of at the same time, Gravely is trying to move the thing and he turns back into Gravely.
I don't like that. Oh, everyone change back. I don't know if you can hear me, but please. And I'll just pull the lever.
So, if I recall, the verbiage is you spend a minute trying to go back to your normal form. So, for somebody who was not in their normal form, would I revert into my normal form?
As in all things as Wolf, you haven't tried before? You don't know. But are you going to go to your normal form?
Yes, that's the goal. And I feel like I would be very relaxed because when you're gas, like,
It's like
I can be
what a
more relaxed
relief.
than
you
gas.
are the cloud.
yeah.
Ooh,
so
do I
that's
revert back to non-wooden Gravely?
So Sarsa is turning back into herself. And when you do that, you're able to do that. And you are Sarsa. No longer a wolf.
Nice.
Gravely, you haven't really like checked your woodenness, but give me a wisdom, straight wisdom roll.
14.
What are the wisdom skills? What are the wisdom related skills? I don't have them in front of me.
Animal handling.
Nature. What's your nature modifier?
+4.
Ah, all right. So that's going to give you a 18.
No, it's maybe a 16. I rolled a 12.
Oh, you rolled a 12.
It was 12 plus 2. Nature's
Nature's
plus
plus your
4,
wisdom
so-
modifier. All right, so 16. That's fine. I was thinking 15. So you weren't really focused on this. You weren't like trying to revert to regular Gravely. You were just focused on the lever, but you do realize like, I'm squishy again.
Wait a minute.
I'm flesh.
I don't smell like cedar. I'm me again. I'm orc flesh. Cool.
As you do that and kind of like pull the lever, it is like a stone door is like very slowly actually like sliding to the side.
While the door opens, I just read another thing in the spell description because it's a very long description that I missed.
Good God.
Which is,
All right.
For the next 8 hours until the spell
no.
ends, you can also go back into gas form.
Everybody?
Yep. Until
Yes,
the spell
wait.
ends, a creature can
Yes,
revert to
yes,
cloud form,
yes,
which also
yes,
requires
yes.
the 1 minute transformation. So you can just go back in if you spend a minute.
Yes,
Oh yeah, it
yes.
takes a minute to transition back from gas, right? Like it's like a slow deal.
Yeah, it's a 1 minute there, 1 minute back.
This is the
All right,
coolest
so-
spell ever.
I like it.
This
I'm
is
glad.
going to complicate things.
Well, I only have one 6th level spell slot, and it's over now. So
Is everybody transitioning back?
No,
Yeah.
I will stay gas.
now
Randall is
that I
still
know
gassed?
that I can go back into gas, yeah, I'm changing
Uh-huh.
back.
All right. Tiburon, are you transitioning?
Yes, transitioning back like
Everyone
the
reverts
Animorphs
except
show.
for Randall.
All right. Riggs is already transitioning back. So it takes about a minute, but all of you slowly, like, it's like a matter of like the gas constitutes into like your shape and then slowly, like, densely solidifies. And after a minute, you are you. Some of you are more you than you were
Oh,
previously.
Randall's the gas.
Randall, everybody kind of like, as you're like, oh, I'm back. Oh, I'm not wood. Oh, I'm Sarsa. This is so great. You kind of turn to Randall, and he's still this like stinky cloud of.
Randall, are you
Stinky
stuck,
gas.
or are you doing that
Randall?
on purpose?
He can't
Shakes
talk.
back and forth.
Oh, he smells
Explicitly
terrible. It smells like trash and garbage. Well, I guess that tracks.
Yeah, does he smell better or?
About the same. The same as your bag. Like if you stuck your head inside Randall's
For sure.
garbage bag, that's basically what he's.
Maybe
smells
he's
like.
finally become what he always wanted to be. Let's just leave well enough alone.
Meanwhile, the door.
Doors slowly sliding open. So once Gravely is solid and able to move the lever, it does just seem to be like the open piece of the door. When you activate the lever, the image of John Fletcher kind of disappears and the door slowly slides to the side. It's a pretty big door, bigger than the opening. It's like a big slab of stone. It takes a while to like move back, but eventually you have a doorway to go through.
All right. Tiburon, why don't you take point? Scope out the next room on whatever's ahead of us.
All right, will do. Tiburon heads through the threshold.
So, walking into the next chamber.
Gravely looks at Branch, and I hold up my hands and look, I'm not wood anymore.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
You know, when you think about it, we're really lucky that wind thing didn't happen while we were gas. That could have gotten real nasty.
It's very true. Although I still want to try to figure out what the puzzle numbers were. I want to talk to the manager about that.
You can ask John Fletcher when
next time he pops up. I still have, or I will cast my cantrip of light on an arrow tip if it seems like it's another room or something like that. Is there any light?
Yeah, the room you're moving into is largely square, and this room is pretty dark, but it looks like there's a doorway off to the left, and that there's something like lit up in that room. That's about all you can see. Well, some of you have dark vision, so like even before you light something up, you can kind of like make out this is a pretty big room. It's roughly square shaped, still kind of like stone walls. It looks like there's an open door off to your left. It looks like there's also a door going forward, like a pretty big door. It looks like there's another kind of pedestal-y thing towards the middle. It looks like there's also an open door to the right.
All right, I go in after Tiburon and hold up my arrow light. Look around and see what I can see.
Yeah, so that'll light up the chamber so everybody can kind of see this. The door straight in front of you is much bigger. There's a pretty big passageway, and actually with light, that entryway is not like closed off. It's not a closed door. There's kind of like a big archway into a very dark chamber. Off to your left, there's light, and you can kind of hear some like work that's happening, some kind of like metal clinking, maybe some sort of like electrical, magical kind of like buzzing. The doorway on your right seems like there's a similar kind of small doorway, but it's dark in that next chamber.
There's Tiburon. There's someone in the next room to the left.
Do we wish to disturb them?
I mean, I feel like they might be of ill intent. But maybe you should take a quick look.
Why don't we send Randall? He's still gas.
Oh, that's a good idea. Randall, can you float?
This is a major complication.
Randall, listen to me.
The gas.
I just kind of put my hands up. Randall, float into that room where there's light and take a look or sense of, I think you can still see things sort of. I don't know how clouds work, and then just see what's in there and then come back and then change back. Okay. And tell us what you see.
Okay.
As you're kind of like whispering to each other, John Fletcher again appears on the kind of like central pedestal and kind of like has a look at you all again and is looking kind of like a little bit more serious, a little bit more grave. Each time you see him, a little bit more stressed, and is like, all right, listen, you've proved you have power, you prove you have ability, you're formidable, you have capability, but you don't want to go any farther. You have to trust me. Now, in this room, and he gestures to the dark room on the other side, it's the treasury. Each of you could take any one treasure that you, to your heart's content, take whatever you prefer and walk out of here. I can deactivate the walkway in the next room. You can leave, not be here again, and none of us will have to worry about this. You don't want to go farther.
Why do you want us to leave so bad?
Yeah, it kind of makes me feel like maybe we're getting real close to the stuff that you don't want us to get to. And I don't really see why I'm supposed to believe that you have our best interests at heart here, boyo.
I don't have your interest at heart. I am not a good person, but I want this to
Okay,
end as
then I think
well
our
as possible.
conversation is over. Bye bye.
Yeah, and that's too bad because with your name and your former business, I could have been a great patron of yours. I'm very interested in fletchery and arrows, but you're just being a ninny.
A ninny?
Whether there's people present, I don't want to call you a bad word.
Well, that's very admirable of you, but this won't end well for you or me or anyone involved if you continue to advance.
Well, we agree on one thing. It won't end good for you.
Gravely's going to walk into the room that he indicated was the treasury, and I'm going to walk forward into that room.
So you do walk in with your kind of like lit up arrow, and it does seem to be a treasury with chests and items and, some armor, some weapons, some generally valuable looking objects, some boxes. Yeah, a lot of stuff that looks valuable.
I would like to cast Detect Magic.
Okay. And I would say Riggs follows you in there. Kind of what's everybody else doing? You're kind of in mid kind of like discussion of telling Randall to go gas his way into the other room. So what's everybody do? Before we do Detect Magic, what's kind of everybody doing in this moment?
Is John Fletcher, he appeared on the pedestal in the middle of the room?
Yeah.
I'd like to examine the pedestal to see if I can figure out how he's showing up, just because I'm genuinely curious.
Sure, investigation.
Imagineers caused an illusion.
18.
So, yeah, you're able to look at it and kind of deduce and look at what he's doing, and it seems like just kind of some sort of version of illusion magic, kind of like some form of maybe the pedestal is enchanted to be able to cast a major image or something so that he's able to, like, he's definitely not there. It definitely seems like he's probably speaking to you live from wherever he is, and something about the way this kind of like network of these specific pedestals is created allows him to project his image. You're pretty confident. Nobody's like, actually, somebody did kind of like gas into his previous version. Like, it's pretty obvious that like this is an illusion. You could put your hand through it. It wouldn't hurt him or anything, but
no obvious way to reverse the polarity of it. And,
not that you notice.
Myself?
No.
Okay.
Maybe artificery, like deep magic could maybe like get into it and and figure out how to reach the other side, but not kind of like not with the wave of a wand or anything. That's Branch's action. Sarsa, what are you doing?
Well, so did the Detect Magic
He
hasn't cast that yet. So Gravely walked into the room that John Fletcher indicated was a treasury. Riggs actually followed Gravely, so they both went in there. Which direction are you going? Sounds like there's somebody or something happening in that room on the other side that there's a light in.
How far away are they from me now?
I'd say the big square room in the middle that you're in is probably about 40 feet on a side. Okay. So they're like 20 feet.
I would,
there you are.
Before following them in, because I have a weird feeling about whatever we're going to be up against here coming up.
Mm-hmm.
While I have everybody within like hearing range of me and within 60 feet, I am going to give a motivational speech. I'm going to tell them, listen, all right, listen, old Sarsa, she's been around the block a time or two, and I'll tell you, the more somebody tells you, oh, you best be walking away now, this is the best situation for everybody, that means you got to push on, you got to keep soldiering on, because that means that, yes, there might be something real big and nasty like around the corner, but it also means there's probably something really good after that. So I think we're coming up close on the end of this, and you guys have shown your mettle, and if we can be gassed together, then we can finish this quest together. So says I, Sarsa Demisalt. I'm going to cast that actually as a 4th level spell. I can choose up to 5 creatures within range that can hear me, so that's everybody. They're going to gain, since I'm casting it at a 4th level, they're going to gain 10 temporary hit points. And they have advantage on wisdom saving throws. If an affected creature is hit by an attack, it has advantage on the next attack. You know what? I'm going to cast that actually as a 5th level spell. So they're going to get 15. Sorry, 15 hit points. So they have advantage. If they're hit by an attack, they have advantage on their next attack. Once an affected creature loses the temporary hit points granted by the spell ends for that creature.
So 15 points. Nice. When you lose 15 points, the spell ends, and advantage on wisdom
saves. Okay. And that's good for an hour or until they lose those temporary hit points.
All right. You're all feeling fortified and charged up on that.
Thank you, Sarsa.
I can cast that on myself too, right?
Yeah, but you'd have to leave one of you out. So
I'll
you
leave
skip Riggs or whoever.
Riggs, because, Actually, you know what? Randall is gas right now, right?
Uh-huh. Yes, gas Randall.
Nah, I'll leave Riggs out.
Wow.
But because I want some temporary hit points.
All of you feel like charged up and fortified and really inspired by this speech, and Riggs is looking around like, wasn't that good a speech? I mean, all right, if that's your thing, sure, let's just get this done.
The rest of us are kind of like putting our hands on our shoulders, like, yeah, good job, well done.
The handshakes where you grasp each other's forearm.
Yeah, we're like, yes, we can do this.
The gas comes and wraps around you a little bit.
Riggs is like, it's only a model.
So who do we leave out? Tiburon, what are you doing?
You said the door on the left is like slightly open. We can see light come through it, right? The one Randall went through.
Yeah, it's all the way open.
Okay. I don't know if I said it, but I would follow them into that room, by the way, at the end of my...
Into the treasury?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. The door on the other side, there's kind of a hallway on both sides, so you don't have a clear vantage point from at least where you entered on what's in there, but the door is open.
I'm going to peek on the left and see what Randall's up to down that left side door.
So you kind of walk up there. We'll do this in concert. Randall, what are you doing?
Randall's going to gas into that room on the left that was open, that he was instructed to go to.
Okay, give me a stealth with advantage, because you're a gas.
But they'll just see me as gas.
It's true.
So what are you going to do?
I don't know.
What would you do if you just saw some gas coming in the room?
Blow into the room that smelled like garbage?
Oh,
I do not know, but just let's find out.
Oh, God, no. 21.
Good God. All right, so you're able to work your way stealthily into this room, down this hallway, into this room as a gas. Tiburon, you kind of tiptoe behind him. Tiburon, also give me a stealth check.
15.
So you're kind of able to tiptoe up to the doorway. And Randall, you flow all the way down the hallway into this chamber. Tiburon, you're peeking, so you can only see a little bit of what is in this room. All right, so Randall, as gas, presumably you can perceive things as gas, because otherwise it wouldn't be very useful to turn into gas.
No.
If you were just stuck there, unable to perceive your surroundings. So you can see what's going around you and perceive. You are looking at...
If it's another gas, I'm going to freak out.
Do the secret gas handshake. You're looking at kind of a workshop. It's cluttered. As an artificer, you get artificer vibes. It's filled with magical items and physically charged items, electronics and things that channel magic and things like that. Kind of like a messy, disheveled sort of workshop. There's some tables, there's some items. There's a big thing in the center of this circular room, which is at its core, it's a big stone circle standing upright, you could walk through it. Fills up most of this room. It's maybe 10 feet in diameter.
So like an arch?
It's a full circle, 360 degrees, goes all around. And it's got things attached to it. It's got some things hooked up to it. And there's a little creature working on it. And it looks like a very small construct in sort of a device that it's sort of flying around in. And that device has regular sized arms, construct-y arms coming out of it. And the arms are kind of fiddling with something, and it's working with this thing. It hasn't noticed you. Tiburon, you are peeking down this hallway, and you don't have as much of a view as Randall does, but you have recently been in a room that looked a lot like this. You're pretty sure you're getting a glimpse of a giant portal thing And you can't quite like see, you don't have a view of the whatever is like moving around from where you are, but it looks a lot like the kinds of stuff that was in the train car where you saw a portal recently.
Interesting. Okay.
Recently, for our listeners, recently in a between season bonus one shot previous to this season. Go back and listen. Hello, Knights of the Roll Table, and welcome to announcements of episode 6. Now, I'm not saying that it's directly a result of our announcement at the top of the previous episode, but soon after we released our previous episode, Wizards of the Coast did release a statement fully backing down on the whole OGL fiasco. So they declared that the original gaming license is going to stay in place as it has been indefinitely. They also, I think, as kind of a gesture of goodwill, released some other 5e. I don't understand all the ins and outs of this, but they released some 5e stuff into it's called Creative Commons. I think it means that basically some things that maybe Wizards of the Coast has copyrighted, like Beholders and Strahd von Zarovich, are available to be played with by third-party creators that were potentially getting kind of screwed over by the whole OGL thing. Anyway, that was a great move. I mean, that's what I think was the best possible move that they could make in this specific scenario. And I think my statement from the top of the previous episode still stands, which is like, regardless of how the OGL situation turns out, like, Hasbro, the corporation, is going to have a lot of future opportunities to make either similarly bad decisions that sort of whittle away at the game that we all play, or to really like take a look at the community and really make decisions that enhance the community and enhance their profits and are a win-win-win for everybody. So we'll see. We'll see how that works out. A lot of third-party creators have kind of banded together and pledged to create an alternative for D&D. Which could be something really cool. Competition is really never a bad thing, so I think that's still going to happen regardless of how Wizards of the Coast has tried to resolve this. And it's definitely a product I would love to take a look at and kind of size up and see the big picture of how things are looking at that point and what we want to play, because I think the more games the better, really. I think that's a win-win-win also. So that's good to hear. Again, like, maybe that has nothing to do with our statement, because it definitely doesn't, but it was, our voice was in there, and so that's good to know. In other news, there has been some reviews that people have left on our podcasts, on Apple Podcasts, that I haven't looked at lately, so I just wanted to read one or two of those. So let's talk about this one, titled Lots of Wholesome Fun. And the text is, just a delightful way to spend some time. We appreciate that. That is what we strive for. That's from Kaju HBSHS on Apple Podcasts. So thank you for that review. We appreciate it. I'll read some other reviews in our future announcement sessions. If you're listening and you have not left a review on Apple Podcasts yet, if anybody can, even if Apple Podcasts is not how you listen, that is the best way to make sure other people, even on other platforms, see our podcast. So if you are able to take a moment to give our podcast a 5-star review and leave a little text review, that would be great. We would appreciate it. We'd be happy to read it here and appreciate you directly. So, Kaju, HBSHS, and all of you other awesome listeners out there, thank you very much. We appreciate you, and we appreciate the support. As always, remember, take care of yourself, take care of each other, and make life an adventure.
Head back into the main room. Is anyone still in the main room, or did everyone else head into the right side door?
Branch is in the middle of the main room, kind of poking at the pedestal thing.
Okay, got it.
Where John Fletcher is like there. Branch is like staring and like looking at the essentially John Fletcher's feet, who can like see him staring down there, examining the structure.
Got it. I'm gonna go up to Branch and I'm gonna whisper. I don't know whether John Fletcher hologram can hear me or not, but I'm gonna.
Seems like it probably would. He basically has the perception he would have if he was there.
I have very large ears because I'm a goblin.
I believe he's trying to hide a portal from us over here on the left side.
That's not good. Let's go tell the rest. Hey, John Fletcher. John Fletcher, where is the next room that you're going to pop up on? You can go there now because we will be there soon.
And John Fletcher looks at you and says, "It's right back the direction you came. Just walk straight back there through the zombie moats and out the way you came. That's where I will meet you."
Okay, you go first and we will be right there.
I will not.
You are not a nice person.
Correct.
Come on, Tiburon, and I'll head over to the treasury area.
All right, so Tiburon and Branch are kind of like sneaking towards what's been indicated as a treasury room. I'd say right about that time, Gravely is casting Detect Magic. And Gravely, when you do that, like this whole room kind of like lights up in your perception as like there's a lot of magic items, a lot of kind of like powerful magic occurring in this room. It seems legitimate. It doesn't seem like you would kind of be able to detect like, are they illusions? Is this a trap? Is there necrotic magic? But you definitely get a sense of like magical items, valuable stuff. Not everything. Some of it is just kind of like riches, but for sure there's a bunch of stuff in here.
So I'm detecting specific items that are giving off a magical aura.
Yeah, I think with Detect Magic, you'd be able to kind of like notice, well, that item is magic. That item is magic. That is not really more details than that, but like you definitely has that sense. And like, it's the equivalent of like a whole room lighting up with like,
gotcha,
a lot of magic stuff in here in various kind of degrees of like, you can probably kind of detect intensity. Like some things bigger than others, like a +1 longbow is less than like a legendary sword, but there's a bunch of stuff in here.
So with my bag of holding, what I'd like to do is grab a couple of those things.
Okay.
The glowier, the better. Yeah, I'll just grab a couple of things and then see what happens. I mean, I'll just put them in the bag of holding, and I'm gonna be like, I'm gonna keep this for later. I'm gonna go through all this later. And
sure, what kind of stuff are you looking for? What would kind of like grab your attention first?
Weapons, armor, anything that's kind of small that can, or that's handheld or body size or whatever, they could fit in. Like if it's armor, like mail or something like that, I'll put that in. Any potions or anything that's giving off a magical aura.
So you gather up a short sword, a set of chainmail, a kind of beaker of potion, a kind of vial of dust that seems magically bright, and you also grab a bracelet.
Cool.
I'm kind of stuff all of those in the bag. Riggs is also like, you're paying attention to that while Riggs is also moving around. Sarsa, what are you up to? You're kind of like aware. You're kind of like closest to the door, and you're aware of Branch and Riggs and Branch and Tiburon coming up behind you. Kind of stress and concern vibe.
I mean, I don't obviously have the same kind of insight as Gravely on like what's what. I would definitely be interested in like grabbing some stuff. I like shinies. Is there anything like that? Like, I mean, Sarsa, like anything that would kind of call out to her as particularly of interest?
And if I notice her coming in, I would probably say like, oh, that one's giving off. I would like start pointing stuff. So if she's rolling, I mean, I would, I would try to help.
I mean, similar question. Like if you're in a room of like a variety of weapons and armor and trinkets and necklaces, some jewelry and things, like what do you think what kind of thing would most grab Sarsa's attention? You see a necklace first as you're kind of like looking around, and you're like, nope, no more necklaces.
Yeah, no, definitely. I think she might be in the market for like a new, like she's got her boots of Elvenkind, so like probably not footwear, maybe a new coat or cloak or butt-enhancing breeches, if that's an option. Like, I don't know. Like, you tell me, what am I seeing? Like, like she's got her tankard.
I'm hearing the first thing that comes to mind is like fashion items, apparel. So you're kind of like looking around for
Well, she
Pants,
definitely
clothes,
blew
tailoring.
through some of her normal garb the first couple times that she shifted. She probably wrecked some of her her coats.
That's
probably looked a little
durability.
haggard.
Not
So-
terrible. Things that the Incredible Hulk could wear and not
Or
mess up.
a cool hat. Because I mean,
Mm.
she's been a captain for a while, and I don't think she's yet to have a hat. We're talking a hat. But maybe that's not here. I don't know if this is a hat room, Zach.
Yeah, you're looking around a little bit with Gravely seems excited. It seems like there's some good stuff here. It seems you kind of gather from that and what John Fletcher said, that seems kind of legit. And you look around and you see a hat. And it's a tricorn hat with a big feather in it.
Is it sparkling?
It's pretty cool.
Gravely? Is it? She holds up. She picks it up and holds it up to Gravely. Huh?
No. He just says no. Oh, is there money, gold, platinum?
Not kind of laying out Scrooge McDuck's money bin, but there's some treasure chests that are not lit up that you would kind of interpret as probably loot.
All right, and I'll look at Sarsa. I'm like, should we take some money?
She she puts the hat on but with a
that's nice. That's very you.
And then she tries to see if she can find any jewels or money that she can just throw in her pockets. But
sorry,
she's definitely a little dejected.
Sorry, Captain. Should we take some booty?
So you kind of put the hat on anyway. Sad that it's not magical.
It's a different kind of magic, y'all.
It's got a vibe. And you notice a belt. A belt with a great big, kind of gaudy, kind of cool belt buckle.
She holds up the belt to Gravely, huh?
Gravely, you get a good vibe off of that one.
Oh yeah, maybe. Be careful because it could be cursed.
Right. Trust me, I've already got me guarded up. So she'll hang on to the belt, but not just immediately throw it on.
Okay. So at that point, Tiburon and Branch are entering.
We leave the door open just a crack so that Randall can follow us in.
And you immediately notice an amazing hat is being worn.
Hey, Sarsa, that hat is a good hat.
Thank you.
Tiburon, you want to tell them what you saw?
I'm fairly certain when I peeked over to where Randall went to investigate, I saw a portal, gravely similar to the one we saw on the train a few moons back.
Oh, that's interesting. I didn't like that train.
It's probably what Fletcher's trying to keep us away from.
Oh, so they've got some sort of transportation, a teleportation thing in here, just like before.
I suspect.
That makes a lot of sense.
We should not let them have that. We should destroy it.
This is a fair amount of time. So, back to Randall, you're observing all of this stuff. Are you hanging out in there? Or are you kind of what's Randall up to?
Yeah, watching, waiting, being aghast.
Okay.
Just a gas on the wall.
Taking it all in. All right. Back to the armory. Portal over there. Randall's in there. No sign of Randall.
I suggest we move quickly before whatever Fletcher might be plotting to stop us with makes its way over here.
Should we just go into that room, smash up the portal, and go from there?
Branch, when in gas form, could Randall communicate telepathically with you or someone else?
Yes. I have one use of basically detect thoughts with the telepathy feat. So, yes, he can.
Detect thought, can he communicate back to me, or you can just kind of know what he's thinking?
I think I can know what he is thinking.
Okay.
I don't know the detect thoughts spell very well. I can read the thoughts of certain creatures.
So you could read Randall's thoughts. That wouldn't necessarily get you, it's not seeing through his eyes. It's not. He can talk back to you. Also, you can see down the hallway. Even from where you are, it's a straight shot to kind of see down the hallway, and you can kind of peek out through the door and see as much as Tiburon saw. The notion of that does kind of look like a sliver of a portal we saw. To call back to the very first episode, Sora's description of the current situation in the war with the elites is that very much they are moving to control the abilities to operate through the portals. They've been attacking the Knight's ability to control your own portals. They've been really kind of trying to monopolize them.
Well, this confirms one thing. Malkedoth is definitely an elite, or at least he's in with them. He's in with the Platinum Syndicate. Otherwise, why would he have a portal? This is a staging ground for them to be transported here. If we can destroy it, it could significantly hamper their abilities.
Riggs says, destroy it or use it. Perhaps
That's
we could
true.
take control of it.
Should we ask our home office what they think, since we had such great luck with the portal to get here?
We could contact one of the guys, the two Bartleby, or
Nobody remembers that guy.
the little guy, the other little guy. He was a biscuit. Should we contact them? They've made that terrible thing that turned me into a wooden toy.
Yeah, now you are a real boy.
Well, I know that.
That's just a matter of using our tattoos, right?
Yeah, we can do that once a day.
All right, I'll do that. Hey, Bartleby, hello. I touched the tattoo before I say that, obviously. Wait, hold on. Message is a certain number of characters, isn't it?
It's
Or a certain
25.
number. Yeah.
Bartleby, hello.
Hey, Bartleby, hello. This is Branch. We found a portal. What should we do with it?
You still have 9 more.
Peace out.
Let me know, bro.
5 more?
I said 5 more words?
Yeah.
So many. What do you do with so many words?
The sooner, the better. Bartleby.
Okay.
I'm using up all 140 characters.
Yeah, sure.
All right.
And with the word Bartleby, whoosh, the message goes out, rattles through the ether, and reaches Bartleby, which, Chris, I'm just going to give that to you. Does he have 25 words to reply?
Yes.
All right.
Oh, Branch, that sounds amazing. Yes, please get the transporter if you can. Or there's a small piece that we need. It's gray. It has a blue. And that's it.
That's it.
The Bartleby, he said that we should get a piece. It is blue, and then he went away.
Did he say what the piece was called?
Well, that's not very helpful. Why would he say that?
Why don't we go and look and make sure Randall?
Oh,
did
that's a
not
good
die?
idea. We're looking. You said a blue piece.
I think he said gray and blue, and then he got cut off. It was.
All right.
He talks very.
Or if we can get the whole thing, and this is in the room with all the people that were working, where we heard sounds.
This is in the room where you heard a sound. Yeah. It wasn't like a lot, but you could just kind of like hear something's down there. There's some rustling and clinking happening in that room.
All right. Well,
Let's go kill
what do you all think? There could be a tussle if we go in there, or we could go straight forward, which is a big dark hallway, possibly a room. There might be something there, or we could try to investigate because there's definitely a transporter, and that could be a way out.
I vote we go to the portal room, yes. Perhaps Randall
All right.
could tell us if any sort of trap or creatures await us in there.
I'll try to do my message to Randall. I'll be like, Randall, can you, if you can hear me, come back.
Randall's not a knight, so he wouldn't get a message.
Oh, that's right. Damn it.
If anybody knows the message cantrip, you could
Free
do
agent,
that.
baby.
I could just walk to the end of the hall and telepathically communicate with him if I can see him.
You have to have visual on him,
Yes,
or you have to know where he is.
I have to be able to see him, which would include him as gas, if I can see the gas. But if I can't see the gas, I would say no.
I think he's kind of like oozed himself off to the side as gas. So like just staring down the hallway, I don't think you can see at least enough of him to do that. You'd kind of have to go try to stealth into the room yourself, or just walk in the room, or
I go to the hall, I turn into a spider with my amulet,
gotcha.
and I
Yep. Mhm.
crawl along the wall until I can see him, and then I telepathically communicate with him.
But then you could just see what I would see.
Yeah, but I want you to
Yes.
come out.
This is true. All right. So you get down into the hallway a little bit, turn into a spider, walk in. You see with your 8 eyes, you see roughly where Randall the gas is. You see this room and more of what Randall saw, but you have a little bit more context that this is definitely a portal. This is actually potentially the portal that you saw on the train. It looks pretty similar. And you see this little creature buzzing around, and it appears to be Voop-de-Doo 2. In his form, like, remember, you fought like a regular sized construct as tiny people, and what it did at the end was it eject kind of like a smaller little creature.
Oh, yeah.
That was also a construct. So it's this like smaller, little tiny, like 6-inch tall construct in a little kind of like levitating thing, and it doesn't have a full construct built around it. It just has arms. So it's manipulating arms that look like they're using kind of a similar sort of remote device as the one that you recovered to work on this portal.
Telepathy to Randall. Randall, come back out here. We need to all talk. And then I scurry away.
I'll gas over.
Spider walks, gasses back down the hallway. Takes a little while probably for Spider Branch to get out there. Gas Randall probably gets out there first, because if you're not going to transform back, if you're going to stay in spider form long enough to make sure you don't alert Voop-de-Doo 2, it's going to take you a lot longer than Gas Randall takes to get out to the mill chamber. So, Randall, you get out there as Gas. What do you want to do?
Let's see what the plan is.
As Gas? Do you want to hang around, or do you want to go back to Randall?
I'm a steak.
All right, you can all tell Gas Randall has re-entered the room because you can smell him. Branch doesn't appear for a couple of 6-second turns at least. Gravely, Sarsa, and Tiburon do a stealth check.
17.
17.
7.
Uh-oh. So you're all kind of like tiptoeing back towards the door, trying to surround it, and Tiburon kicks something and makes enough of a sound that you hear the sound in that chamber stop for a second. And you all see Voop-de-Doo 2 in this kind of like form, kind of like move into the doorway to look out there.
Am I still behind him in the hall?
He probably only goes to the like end of the hallway on his side, so you're somewhere in the middle in spider form, maybe like halfway in. So he like goes out, here's something, goes out to look. Everybody, so the three of you give me another stealth check for like him not seeing you when he looks.
As the gas, I'd like to cover up my friends. Like going like putting my arms and legs out.
Spread out and obscure it.
Kind of obscure.
I'm not going to alter the roll. So everybody, regular stealth roll. Gravely, Sarsa, and Tiburon again.
Do they get advantage? I'm helping.
No.
Oh, man.
15.
This is one of my favorite things that's ever happened on the podcast. It's great.
From now on, every single day in the episode, it's going to be Jeff being like, cast the thing. Come on, Branch, cast the thing.
Gas.
Sarsa and Tiburon, what's your new stealth check?
I had a 17.
Okay.
10.
Uh-oh. So once again, he's already kind of like looking in your direction and looking, and you try to like kind of scramble off to like get to the side or something, because you hear the sound of him stop and kind of like move towards. You're like, oh, I gotta move, and you kind of like stumble away again, try to get off to the side, but like trip. Actually, I'll say you fall like through the image of John Fletcher, and like Voop-de-Doo like looks, kind of like scans, and you hear it go like, alert, intruders, evacuate situation, deploy countermeasures. And he does that thing again that happened to you once before, which is like a bunch of little darts shoot out. I think it was a Constitution save. He's only really perceived you, Tiburon, so let's have you make a Constitution save.
Got it. A 5.
Oh, jeez. So a little homing dart like shoots out of his thing and stuns you, and he immediately turns, activates, moves this his like robotic arms, manipulate his remote control, and the portal activates. He probably has time enough to do that on his own turn without readied actions and stuff. None of you have really seen him until that moment. So I think on his turn, Tiburon is stunned, like can't move. That's the only person he's seen clearly. A Branch, maybe I will give you, if you want to take some sort of a reaction or some sort of an action. You're in spider form. You're the closest to him. You can see him clearly, and he hasn't seen you. So if you want to try anything in particular in this round, you can attempt something.
He's turned back around by the time I would try something.
He deploys his like countermeasure. You see it hit Tiburon. You know kind of what that's done before. It was like a 6-second stun for him to escape. You see the portal like activate, and you can kind of guess from what he did before that he's about to like try to escape through it.
Well, the best I can do right now is stop being a spider, which I think would be a bonus action if it follows my normal wild shape rules.
Sure.
Could I then do an action?
Yeah. So you turn back into Branch. The spider was like up on the wall, so you like clattered to the ground. That probably uses most of your movement to fall.
That's fine. I'm not
try to get back up,
all.
but you have your action. You can't turn him to gas. That's gone.
I'm gonna cast heat metal on his construct body, basically.
Okay. Heat metal just works on the metal object?
You cause the object to glow red hot. It doesn't have any creature in physical contact with the object takes 2d8 fire damage when you cast the spell.
Ouch, that does seem bad. It does seem like the arms kind of construct flying thing that he's in is metal. I think it lights up. It probably does that damage to him. So I would say like his momentum is through the portal that he's activated, but you like heat these arms and kind of like flying machine / like extension arms on light up, and that like probably knocks him out of it, does that like fire damage. They like drop the remote, but like there's enough momentum that like the arms break and kind of drop, but Voop-de-Doo 2 and the remote go flying through the portal, which closes. The arm thing kind of clatters to the ground on fire, and there you are.
Okay.
Solved.
So out of initiative, John Fletcher is still kind of like looking at this like, and what do the rest of you do from there?
When I was the gas and I was in that other room, besides the portal, was there like a connecting door or another? Did that go anywhere else, or was it just that workshop room?
No, just that chamber.
Okay.
A bunch of stuff.
Yeah, and we still have one door we haven't been through that's in the room that you're
the big door. The big open dark door.
Yeah. I'm going to go in the portal room.
Okay. You're able to walk in there and look around. What's everybody else doing?
I
You're stun only last 6 seconds, so like you're stuck there for a moment, and then you're pretty able to recover relatively quickly.
I feel like the minute that Sarsa was like, "Oh, here's next big bag evil guy for us to fight," like she would probably be heading that way. She knows, she's been around long enough to know you don't split the party, but like she wants to be with the party that's going up against big bad evil guy.
All right, so Branch has turned back into Branch from Spider. Branch casted heat metal. Sarsa kind of like rushes that way. As you rush that way, you kind of establish like doesn't look like there's anything in here. Tiburon is spending his time recovering from stun. Randall is still gas.
Yep.
Gas is about a little bit. Gravely, any particular reaction in that moment?
I'll just see Voop-de-Doo 2 robot and say, don't let him press any buttons or you might get very tiny, and I don't want to go through that again.
And he's gone. Things are quiet.
Branch will yell down the hall. He went through the portal. I tried to stop him, but he was too fast. But I have his arms.
Don't touch them.
Well, they're very hot, so I wouldn't.
Yeah.
Randall, we could use your help.
Oh, I got a degas.
No, you just come in the room. That's all.
Okay, I'll come in the room.
I mean, all I said was we need your help.
Oh, okay. I'll come in the room. I'll float into the room as gas.
You are good.
Gas it up, baby.
You have some moments to kind of look around. You can all get a look in this room. It's nothing that any of you particularly understand. If any of you understood any component in this room, it would probably be Randall, since he has some artificer levels.
That's why
he
I
is
asked him
gas.
to come in.
Yeah, so maybe he gets a little bit more than any of you do, but for sure, Branch, Tiburon, and Gravely are recognizing like, this is definitely a portal. We would want to like, if we could kind of like recover and control this, it seems good. Probably some of this stuff is valuable.
Do we see anything that's gray with blue, like Branch said he heard to look for?
Yes, but kind of a lot of stuff. A lot of stuff is gray because there's metal and stone. There's various blue things. It doesn't kind of like narrow it down very much.
Bartleby needs to be more specific. There's too many things that are gray in here. Well, what are we doing, gang? Are we taking out this guy or are we moving on? Or should we try to make a hasty retreat? I mean, this could be very valuable.
John Fletcher from down the hall is like, hasty retreat.
That sounds like we should stay.
Nobody asked you, John Fletcher.
So I think we should find the piece that Bartleby wants. If we need to contact him again to do that, that is probably a good idea. And then, I do not know. Then break the rest of the portal.
Zach, while this is happening, Randall is going to degas.
Oh, all right. So there's enough time that you can kind of slowly, in the darkness next to John Fletcher, re-Randall yourself.
I really thought we were gonna have epic combat with my little buff on everybody, y'all.
The buffs was a while, right? How long does that last?
An hour.
Yeah, so you're still all up on that.
I'll go back in the main hallway and keep a lookout and just kind of look down the large open middle door that was in that main hallway and try to ignore John Fletcher as much as possible.
Yeah, it's dark. It's a big arch. He kind of like lets you look at it. It's very kind of like ominous feeling.
I don't suppose you tell us what's down there.
From your detect magic cast, is that 1 minute or 10 minutes? It might still be up.
10 minutes.
So with that detect magic, like you're also able to detect when you walk in the portal room, like big magic there, powerful, which also based on your knowledge, like a magic item isn't as destroyable as if it was just like a regular stone circle. And like big, dark, ominous magic feeling from this arch that visually it looks like you could just kind of like walk through into the darkness.
I'm just gonna kind of look at it, and it's that one of those things where the camera kind of zooms forward, but it pans back, so because that gives you that weird like depth thing, and then Gravely's gonna just kind of, I'll just kind of flick out my wrist like I'm thinking about something, and I flick out my wrist in my hand, and I'll cast Firebolt. I just want to send it forward into the darkness, 120 feet. Just kind of light up the space.
Yeah, so you're able to do that. It passes through the archway that is very dark, and it does kind of like light up around it. And you're able to see a second chamber that is through that way that is not terribly big. And maybe just like 10 feet past the archway, the firebolt hits a big, large wooden door. Two-sided, like a double doors, big like metal rings on it, formidable looking. It like crashes against that, doesn't seem to do any damage.
Okay, well, interesting. There's a large door over here. I turn back to John Fletcher and I'm like, I don't suppose you would tell us if that was the way out.
It's not the way out. It is the way to the conflict that you're looking for. But if you pass this threshold, and he's referencing the archway that you could just step through, whoever passes this threshold, at least one of you is not coming back.
La 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 la. There's no way you know that. Or perhaps you could elaborate a little bit. If this is a genuine thing for us to be concerned about, maybe you could be a little less cryptic.
Look at me, Sarsa Demisalt. I'm not a good person, but I do not lie. And whoever crosses that threshold, at least one of you will not be returning.
You say you're not a good person, but yet you keep trying to warn us. So I think that you actually are a good person, John. And I think deep down you miss making arrows and you miss helping people. And you've been helping us this whole time. Why don't you help us now? Tell us. Whatever it is, we have resources too. You think that this guy is powerful, but we can help you if you just help us.
Sure, roll persuasion.
21.
Dang. I do want to help you, Gravely. What I will do above all else is protect my family, and there is only one way I can do that. It's to either end this in conflict or convince you to leave. And for everyone here, it would be better if you leave. But what I am saying unequivocally and honestly is that whoever crosses that threshold, it is the final test. And it is the most difficult thing you've passed so far. And you will not all return from it.
Riggs, do you have any thoughts on this? We're ultimately doing this for you, so
Riggs, you said?
Might be worthwhile if you actually weighed in a little bit here.
Riggs looks at you and looks at John Fletcher and pulls his big hammer off of his shoulders and walks across the threshold.
Oh shoot! Can I tell if he was telling the truth, like insight, like John Fletcher?
Yeah, roll insight.
Oh, that's a nat 20. 22.
Dang. You feel like, you get every indication that he is telling the truth.
So
About telling
I
the
look
truth.
at Sarsa and I'm like, I think he's telling the. Wait, no, don't walk back. Oh, oh no.
Gravely, we could just go for a pint if you want.
I turn back to John Fletcher's projection. I say, how do you know one of us won't come back? Is there some sort of sacrifice? Are you able to see the future? How do you know that?
Yeah, that's really specific.
That's what the final test does. I'm not going to tell you any more than that. That would defeat the purpose, but I've told you what I can tell you. It's your choice now. Determine your own fate.
All right, Gravely. So here's the thing. We could go in and we could risk it. I mean, if we don't go in, then that would probably be a pretty classic dick move, just to let Riggs go in and leave him in there solo.
Randall, you don't have to come with us. You're not a knight. We don't expect you to potentially sacrifice your life. But we are, then the rest of us, I turn to kind of the rest of them, I say, but we are knights and this is our job. This is what we do. And we can't let this man go alone.
I'm already cursed. Let's do the damn thing. I'll go. I walk.
If I were to conjure creatures and they went through, perhaps one of them would die and not one of us, yes?
Tiburon?
Is Brank saying he wants to murder some creatures to make sure we're not murdered?
I think he's trying to find a loophole, but I think he said he's in his own branch way.
Something tells me this is not the time for loopholes. It's time to go through the threshold.
I cast Conjure Minor Elemental and I make a gargoyle. Say, come on, okay. And then we both go.
Randall, what would you like to do?
Okay, can I still try and blow up the thing, though? Because I really want to try and blow it up.
You can try, but I'm asking
and
is...
he takes his electric guitar and he plugs in a cable from it, and he goes, you guys are going to want to cover your ears. And he goes, and he slams on the notes, and he's going to effectively cast Shatter from an amp that he set in the over by where it is. And so you just hear this like thunderous shattering sound of like 1,000 amplifiers just exploding and feed back in.
1,000 suns.
Yes.
I'm always very aware of when you do something like that in an internal chamber that's kind of echoey, how like enhanced it would be. I think it probably is contained mostly in the chamber the portal is in. Certainly like enough of it gets down the hallway and into this chamber to like hurt everybody's ears, but most of that, like if anything, the shatter damage is going to be like amplified, and definitely like whatever is still laying around and mortar in the walls and things are definitely like impacted badly, but it doesn't seem to really affect the portal because of its magical indestructibleness.
I might need some more time with that.
Well, the rest of us are going to go.
Wait, I can't come?
Randall, I can't ask you to come with us. We took an oath, and it might be dangerous. You might not come back, but it's up to you.
No, I want to stay with you guys. You guys are cool. You turned me into gas and gave me trash.
Well, then, together.
Let's do it.
So all of you are kind of like, as a team, still feeling motivated by like Sarsa's speech earlier, kind of like as a team stepping forward. And John Fletcher's like, "Oh, wait! There's a riddle first. I start with an E and I end with an E, but I contain only one letter.
E?
Incorrect. You have to leave.
No. And then Branch and the
Let's go.
gargoyle go through the archway.
Maybe it's P.
Come on, Randall, Sarsa, Tiburon.
So you all step over the threshold. You don't notice anything as you walk in there. There's not like a big like effect, and he's just like, it's an envelope.
I turn around and say, "Oh, and by the way, that number puzzle sucked."
You didn't have all that. Forget it. It actually goes dark. Your view of John Fletcher's image kind of like goes dark as all of you are in this chamber, and there's a kind of like ethereal light that happens in there.
Riggs?
So Riggs is in there. He's there with you. And actually a number appears above each of your head, kind of like materializes. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So we'll say Tiburon 1, Sarsa 2, Gravely 3, Branch 4, Randall 5, Riggs 6.
What about
Gargoyle? No number on the gargoyle. So I need somebody who can like move your camera and who has a D6 to give us a roll. All right, Matt's got it. You're gonna roll a D6 and show us what it comes up as.
All right, ready? 6.
Who's 6?
Yeah. Riggs is
Is that
6.
Randall?
Riggs
Oh, Riggs
are
the 6?
Yep.
We won.
What have we
Best
done?
possible outcome. Kill the NPC. Kill the NPC.
Well, he's the only one that knows where to go. All right, what happens, Zach?
So what happens actually is like a 6-sided cube appears in front of you and it rolls. It rolls a little bit, like rolls in place in kind of like space. And you see it come up 6. And you can all see like 6 is like Riggs's number. And you kind of all look at him. And nothing happens. And nothing happens to the door either. And
No, this is some Squid Game nonsense, right?
Hey, Riggs, can you open the door?
Riggs says like, I'm not, no, I don't have anything. I don't know. Again, John Fletcher's image appears there
Can't get away
with
from this
you.
guy.
Like,
God.
The reception is amazing, though.
interesting. It doesn't appear that it will work with him. And the image of John Fletcher, it's not like attached to a pedestal here. He seems to be able to kind of like move about. And John Fletcher kind of like walks right up to Riggs and looks him in the eye, and Riggs just glares back. This man puts no value on his own life. There's no sacrifice in it for him. He can't activate the spell. He wants me dead far more than he values anything else. I'm afraid we'll have to re-roll.
Hey, that's not fair. We played your game and we won.
Yeah, I don't.
Would you like to leave, Possum Man?
Guys, quickly, let's gas and let's go.
It's
Start
gonna
turning
take
into
too long. It'll take too long.
But the numbers reappear above your head, 1 through 5. Nothing appears above Riggs this time. Nothing appears above Gargoyle. So we'll re-roll. 6 is not going to count.
3.
It's a 3.
No, that's me.
Gravely
Gravy
is number 3. You see the 3 above Gravely. Everybody kind of like turns to him and looks at him. Gravely, you don't feel anything different. You don't sense anything. You don't hear anything. Like nothing occurred to you, but there's a big ka-thunk sound and the double doors creak open. So you like peer into the next chamber, which the first thing that happens is like there's a gray, dense fog around the ground, sitting kind of like dry ice, sitting kind of like along the ground, and that spills out of the next chamber a little bit. So you can see in this chamber, the whole ground is covered with this dense fog, and it's like slightly lit, dimly lit. You can see around a little bit. And in the midst of all of this kind of like dense, ominous fog, John Fletcher is standing there. Not Malkedoth, but John Fletcher, who's been talking to you all of this time. And he looks at you and says, "All right, let's get this done."